We had yarn, we had a small team working in a small town, but we had zero credibility. There was one thing that I remembered from my past fashion work, that no one would get to buy your brand if it's not shown beautifully. So I have made the decision that could have ruined our brand. We invested everything into one fashion shoot. When I worked as a fashion editor, I chose brands by images, not their potential and not their business plans, but only images. So I knew the brands with the strongest visuals won, and I knew that if you don't look seriously, no one will treat you seriously. So I called Svetlana Tanakina. She was a fashion stylist from Vogue. We had actually worked together in a Vogue team, and we kind of made friends with her, but she did real Vogue covers and she worked with real budgets and with big brands. And I was sitting on this mountain of the sweaters, like in plastic bags. And actually, I was okay if she would say no. And I thought that probably she would say no. But instead of that, she said, of course, send me everything. So it was the first time for me to see how the real, the big, the professional fashion shoot is organized and is built. We had a casting director, we had a professional photographer, and a makeup artist who made international magazines covers. Hi, Kate Moore, and I love you. Hope you're doing well. There were mood boards, there were concepts, there were location scoutings. I never thought of this before, so I never knew how it would be. And it felt so big and scary, but still, I thought that we were doing something real. So we were not playing business, we were actually building one. I remember that we searched everywhere for a location, and finally we found a Parisian-style apartment in the center of the city with wooden floors, with beautiful lighting, with modern art on the walls. We almost lost it. On the night before the shoot, the owner wrote to me that he was not sure about the number of people on the set and that he didn't like it, that we were planning to eat something there. So, but somehow it worked. And the curious thing is that apparently the girl who lived in this apartment with her family, years later, she became our sales agent of Mir stores, and she helped us enter Paris market and Tokyo. But at that time, she was just a girl living in this apartment, which she rented for our first shoot. The casting director sent dozens of girls, and we didn't know at all like how to choose them. So, and then one day Svetlana wrote that, what about this girl? Like, I love her. She's a new face. And that was the first time in my life where when I heard this term like a new face. In fashion, it means high potential and raw power and something that hasn't exploded yet. So we hired this girl, and it felt unreal because it felt like something really professional and really happening. But and years later, we actually saw this girl in international lookbooks. But at that very time, she was just like our model, and that felt incredible. For that shoot, I created my first ever call sheet. I actually didn't know what it was. It was such a small thing, like to send out this call sheet, but to me it felt like, wow, we are not playing, like we are building, so we are here. And the day of the shoot as well, it felt like a celebration. My husband was in his office and I was on the set, and I remember walking towards this apartment with beautiful flowers which were needed on the set as well, and I was like feeling that something was in the air, that something huge was coming. I am so grateful that I was well supported on this day. And for example, one of my classmates, university classmates, she came to the shoot. She knew that we were preparing for this big day, and as she was starting the career of a professional photographer in fashion, she suggested to make a backstage video. And by the way, now she works in Dubai and she's very talented and very wanted by everyone. So hi Julie, I love you too. Thank you for supporting. Yeah, she offered to film like this backstage video, and I think that probably she even did it for free. Is it possible? That video, it still exists, and thanks to it I can actually transfer to this day like for a short period. And probably that is why I remember this day so well. The main thing that was happening that day was, to me, that I was surprised that for the first time in my life and in building the brand, I don't have to fix the makeup, to fix the hair, to improvise, or to think of the angle or of something else. That the team was working there on the set, and I felt it, that they were all together, like a system. So they were discussing light angles and posing and hair and like makeup liners and whatever. For the first time, when you treat seriously by a team of professionals, you actually begin to feel differently. So I felt more serious, like a founder of the brand. And the team actually gave me this feeling. Actually, I didn't know it then, but years later, I read this book by Dan Sullivan called Who Not How. And it said that instead of doing all yourself, you should find the right people who would bring you the needed result. And somehow, even though we didn't have systems, we didn't have budgets, we didn't have anything, as it seemed to me that time, but it became our principle for the upcoming years, and we always followed it. So whenever we lacked something, we found the highest quality people in this or that sphere, for example, like Vogue or Harper's stylists, professional photographers, or the best marketing directors from Louis Vuitton or from whichever, from other big brands. And we consulted them. We asked to do something. We made special projects with them. And these people, they lifted us to a different level. I don't know how we actually got to this idea, but that became something to us. So when the photos came back, we didn't actually see the photos. We saw the brand. And I remember I saw that we had repositioned ourselves from a handmade project to a fashion brand. Once this positioning changed, the growth followed. And that season, when we started from this shoot, it was our first big success. And in the next episode, I will be sharing the excitement of this first fall winter at Mir stores and how we managed our huge lines of clients wanting to have one of our sweaters. So thank you for watching, and thank you for following my way, so in my story. Don't forget to be kinder to yourselves. See you soon. Bye.